Today is your day, a day that you step back from the world and realize that someone truly needs your attention. That person is you. All our attentions are focused on everything and everyone around us, but amidst the chaos of this thing we all call life, we forget to slow down and be ourselves. We punish ourselves by conforming to the way we should be instead of who we truly are. We all have the choice of being a spectator in this game or to be participants. The difference is the spectator will talk, the participant takes action. So you must decide whether you walk the walk or talk the talk.
Too many of us talk a good game, but very few of us actually play it. Focusing on you starts to prioritize the things around you. You being at your optimum means you are at your optimum for those around you too. Today, ask yourself, what advice would I give to a close friend, family member? Then ask yourself this, what advice would I give to myself? It's time to have a little bit of self-love, self-care, and focus on you. We all have a purpose in life. But what is yours? Are you in charge of it? It's now time for you to take action. Start writing your own script.
For me, comfort zones are one of those things that you need to absolutely step outside of. In order to focus on yourself, you need to really focus on the things that you enjoy doing. Take up a new hobby, something that's totally different to what you'd normally be stuck in the rut of doing and conforming to. So it could be learning a new language, it could be doing a new exercise, it could be dancing, it could be anything at all, it could be whatever it is you're into, but the most important thing is that you do something that focuses entirely on you and that exactly is what you want to do today. Today, focus on your inner warrior. Stop making excuses. If you truly want to be a different person and stand out from the rest, start changing that inner voice. Plan, develop, and execute. You direct your life with a purpose. Focus on all aspects of life. Build your body, make it strong. Leave no stone unturned. Build every muscle, every tendon, enhance your flexibility. Be creative. Make it fun. Turn exercise into a game and make it part of your day. Get rid of that negativity, the I can't do attitude, and flip it over to yes I can. You always can, you just need to find a way. Keep things simple, make it work for you, use what you have around you. Try not to overcomplicate things, we spend our lives doing that. Sometimes less is more. Exercise increases the happy hormones and sets us up for the day. Supercharge yourself by releasing all of those endorphins into your system and bring your best self to everything that you do and face throughout your day.
So it's so important to focus on you instead of all the time trying to focus on others and please everyone around you when you're not actually pleasing yourself. So when you focus on you, it recharges you, it recharges your mind, your body, every part of your being. So it's important just to understand that put focus on you rather than putting energy and focus on everybody externally. Put energy and put focus back on you so it'll have a positive internal effect on you both mentally and other ways as well, energetically.
Like any car, it needs the right fuel to run. Constantly put the wrong fuel in, neglect it, and it will let you down. Eat well, build yourself up, fuel your system and feed it with the right nutrients. You have a choice. Every time you eat, you either build yourself up or tear yourself down. And rest. We forget to slow down. Take in what is wonderful around us, breathe, and listen to your heart's beat.
Strong body, strong mind and emotional health are the three most powerful tools that any of us can formulate into our life's plan. If you focus on you, you will bring the best version of yourself every time. Do we have to wait until it's too late to start living? Today, focus on you. Today is your day. This is your time. Show yourself some self-love.
Hi, I'm Jason Kenny.
And I'm Declan Dorr from KD Corporate Wellness.
Thank you today again for taking time out to look at our videos. We're very excited about this series and we hope you get something from it. Today is all about focusing on yourself, which is something that's really important and both of us hold very dear to our own hearts. Not doing it is actually detrimental to yourself, and both of us are passionate about just taking time out to have a hobby, having an interest for yourself and taking time for yourself. It wasn't always something that was, I suppose, something that we practiced regularly, but it certainly became a habit after a while. We had to learn those rules, those little processes, those little things that we had to put together and realize going, you know what, it's important to have some bit of downtime.
Yeah, and I suppose there's a saying out there, as you get older you get wiser, and I suppose it's as you get older you really do get wiser and realize that it's so important for your mental health and your emotional health and also your physical health to look after you and focus on you. And some people might think, sure, that's very mean, or why would you just focus on you? But if you're focusing on everybody else and you're not focusing on you, over time your body starts to deteriorate. It's a big word, but people start to get sick, they start to get tired, they start to get lethargic, they start to get depressed even. So it's important to take time out from everybody else and just put time on you and get out into nature. Disconnect from your phone, disconnect from social media. These days we're so connected, we're actually disconnected from ourselves, we're disconnected from what we want to be and who we want to be. So it's important to look after you, very, very important.
Yeah, it's a really good point to make. I mean, for us it's not so much even just simply disconnecting or just simply saying focus on yourself. We actually look at what we need to focus in on. So it could be certain things like exercise, so your health, obviously your physical well-being, making yourself stronger physically, building muscle and losing weight, or whatever it is, toning up, whatever it is that suits you and whatever it is that you want to do and your goal is. That is very important. So that's one aspect of it. Then you have, as Declan pointed out, the mental health aspect of it. Again, you got to find some space inside your head, a place that you find that's comfortable and that you can, have that powerful self-talk. And we spoke about this in the previous videos, just the power of that and how important it is, the conversation you have with yourself. But then obviously you have the emotional aspects of it as well, and how you connect with other people and what your thoughts and processes in terms of how that is and what you're doing back and forth with other people and how you're developing those relationships. And I suppose the spiritual aspect of it as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to believe in any particular religion, but certainly it is nice to have that outer body, almost Zen-like approach to life. It helps you develop a philosophy, a nice internal philosophy too.
And if you don't mind me just cutting across, Jason is big into martial arts and all that sort of really good stuff. And both Jason and myself have been in Japan, and we've learned a lot over in Japan about health, lifestyle, and Jason has represented Ireland and went over to Japan in the martial arts world, and it's all about what you just talked about, that Zen state and looking after yourself and reconnecting back to yourself. You might just touch a little bit on that, Jason, about the power of that, because martial arts isn't just about hurting other people or being very physical with people. Actually, it can be the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously different aspects of it. I mean, you have the physical and you have the philosophical aspect of it. Martial arts is a kind of a double-edged sword, to excuse the pun. Where you have the philosophical side of things, where you have the healing, the nurturing and the nature aspects of it, which it makes you connect a little bit with why you're doing something in the first place, and if there's a different alternative to it. So if you're trying in the martial arts world, if you're trying to immobilize an attacker or an opponent, there are several ways of doing it. You have a choice. You can beat the living hell out of someone and arrive at your destination, or you can arrive at your destination in a more subtle way with less chaos and have the same outcome. But what happens with that is it gives the other person an opportunity to, I suppose, forgive almost. So there's a lovely story on that. An instructor of mine, going back many years ago, back into the 60s, and what he did was he was on a train, and this guy came into the train in the midst of Tokyo, and there was all sorts of chaos, and he was a foreigner, and what had happened to him, he was roaring and shouting on the train, and Japanese culture are quite respectful, so they were quite, I suppose, appalled by the behaviour really, and he decided, okay, well, I have a choice here. I can either get up here and fight this guy, or I can actually ask him what's wrong. So he did. The guy came down, he was pushing and shoving people and dragging and screaming and shouting and whatever it was. He came as far as him, and he managed to get him in and sat him on the seat, and he said to him, "What's wrong with you? What exactly is wrong? This isn't you, is it?" And it turned out, for I suppose, in the end, to make a long story short, it turned out that the guy's wife and child had died, and he was just completely acting out. It wasn't who he was. Now, he could have taken the route of beating the living crap out of him, and everyone would have thought, well done, thank God for that. But it actually turned out there was a different approach. He still got a good result, and he obviously gave the guy an opportunity to tell him his story and his side of things with a more peaceful approach. So you have that lovely philosophy as well. You're able to discipline yourself and make yourself a little bit more decisive in your decisions.
I think it's important, something you just touched on there. You know, Jason talked about the physical side of things there as well, but what could be happening, and maybe it might be happening you now in your life, you might be actually having a physical fight with yourself. You know, you could be not taking that time for you, and not taking that time for you, sometimes you start to get physically, inside in your own mind, you start to fight with yourself. And you know yourself, you want to take time for you, but you don't want to let down your friend, you don't want to let down your parents, you don't want to let down whoever it is around you. But sometimes the best gift you can give to others is for you to retreat and take time away and just reconnect to yourself. It could be reading a book, it could be going for a walk, it could be whatever it is that you can do to make yourself feel better. You know, it could be even just writing, it could be anything like that. But the key component we're trying to get across to you here is it's fundamentally important for you to take time for you.
Yeah, I think if you look at it as well, a lot of people will focus in on one aspect, and they get very good at that. And that's fantastic, and it works really well. And we see it in the business world quite a lot, where people are very, very good at what they do, extremely good at their jobs, but fall down in all other aspects of their life. Their health suffers, their relationship suffers, you know, but they're good at their job. And likewise, that can happen in other parts of it as well. They can be really good at relationships, really bad at their job, and so on and so forth. So I suppose what this does is it takes you back a little step, and you look at what is really powerful in your life now, and working on the areas that are a little weaker, and then looking at something that you can do to make it easier for you to enjoy being with yourself, to enjoy being around other people as well, because there's a little bit of an offshoot to this as well. And the whole point of all of this is about loving yourself and not the idea of other people loving you. If you can step away from that for a while, that's really important, because if you have in your mind that I'm going to do this because I think everyone else will think this is a great thing to do, or this is awesome, that's not what you should be doing. Because there's a natural domino effect, there's a natural knock-on effect to that anyway, isn't there?
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, absolutely. And you see, once you start, like here you are looking at two guys talking about loving yourself, and it's not about actually, and you say this very well, it's not about actually looking at yourself and going, oh, I love myself, I'm the most beautiful person in the world. It's not about that. It's about having self-care for yourself and looking after yourself. And one thing I was really bad at was looking after myself, and I was, like Jason just touched on, I was great at certain areas in my life, but in those other areas I was so bad at. And the number one area and I've no problem sharing this with people now, that I was really bad with, was actually looking after myself with my nutrition, with my food. And I thought I was looking after myself, but I wasn't really. I was going for fast food here, fast food there, the Lucozades here, the Powerades there, to just give me that false lift, that false energy. And what would happen was I'd get that false energy, and then boof, I'd have a crash. Get that false energy, and boof, I'd have another crash. So what was happening to me over time was I was getting burned out. And I was getting burned out in all different areas of my life, and I was just getting really depressed, really down on myself. And there's also a saying out there, your food equals your mood. So it's so important to make sure you look after yourself that way. When we say take time for you to look after you, nutritionally wise. You know, the last videos we were talking about was all about self-talk and looking after your mental, what you're saying up here, but also look after what's going into your body, going into your nutrition. Are you eating healthy at the moment? If you're not, maybe that's one thing you need to look at, and do one thing at a time. Just remove one thing that you know is not serving you and replace it with something that you know is nourishing and fueling the body in a really good way. And I know that's something you're very passionate about.
Yeah, I suppose it comes back down to making that life decision as well. Eventually, you know, you do things in life and you kind of tend to get away with it. Then comes a certain point and you go, you know, I'm sick of looking at myself and being like this, or I'm sick of feeling this way, or I'm just sick of being sick.
I'm tired and lethargic and angry, and like I can't believe when I started to learn about this, the food you eat, it can actually make you angry. It can make you really, excuse my language, but pissed off with yourself or pissed off with those around you. And it's got a lot to do with the sugar and all the sort of stuff that goes into the food. So it's just something to be very, very mindful. And whatever age you are, just try and look at that component in your life.
Yeah, we don't look at food as a source of a luxury. It's rather a fuel. You've got to look at it, how it's going to fuel my day, energy-wise. I mean, it affects your brain, your thought processes. It tends to, when you're cold and you have that little bit of chill and you haven't eaten, when you eat something, your body starts to warm up. When you're lacking certain elements of your food, you start to become lethargic and tired. I remember doing competitions and doing this and getting to the point where I was so low in carbohydrates that I was almost slurring my words. It got to at that point, it was insane. And then afterwards, overindulging and feeling ill. So the body can be very sensitive, but what it did do was give me a great insight into how powerful food is. And food is medicine for the soul when you think about it. And at the end of the day as well, we need to look at the physical side of stuff. You need to get physical with yourself. You need to be literally doing exercise on a regular daily basis. The power, the endorphins released, the dopamine in the brain, it's incredible what it does. It really lifts you up. We do it as part of the start of our day. We built it into our routine. It's just part of what we do. Listen, you got to get up, you got to walk from the bed to the toilet, to brush your teeth, to have a shower. So you're physically moving. So all you got to do to start moving is put one foot in front of the other, basically.
Yeah, and Jason talked about the physical, and then there's a 4-step process that we often talk about, and it's called the PEMS system. So PEMS, P-E-M-S. So your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual. So Jason just touched on there the physical side of things, the E, which is the emotional side of things. It all comes back to how you're feeling. And the first thing to do is, whatever's going on for you, always come back to yourself and go, how am I feeling right now in this moment? And you could be feeling angry, you could be feeling frustrated, you could be feeling pissed off. Whatever it is that you're feeling, express it instead of suppressing it, because if you suppress it, you're going to get depressed. So the key component is the physical, the emotional, then the mental. You know, if you think about the mental side of things, that's your self-talk, and it all goes back to your self-talk. What you're saying to yourself will also have an adverse reaction to what's happening externally as well. And then, like we talked about the spiritual side of things there earlier on, it's not about sitting down praying or going to church, and all that stuff is good if you're into all that sort of stuff. It's about spiritually connecting to something that encourages you and gives you that positive, uplifting feeling and emotion. And something that I know in the martial arts, it's a big thing as well, you know, the whole connecting back to yourself.
I think the whole point here is that it's almost a complete circle, and on that circle you've got points on it. They're the dots, and you're connecting them each way. And to be a complete circle, you don't want any break in that circuit. We do it all the time, every single time we do it. And if something comes into our life, we have distractions, we have people, we have environment, we have stressors in life, we have exams, we have financial worries, we have the emotional worries, we have the deadlines that we've got from work situations and so on and so forth. We've got a lot of things that get thrown in on top of us, and we don't get an opportunity to look and concentrate on ourselves. But if you just do one small thing every single day, it becomes a habit and it becomes part of your routine. You get up, you exercise, if you're not into exercise, you get up, you do some breathing, you do meditative stuff. If you're not into that, you do, if it's a case you're just listening to music, close your eyes and put headphones in your ears and, just close, your mind off almost to the world and just listen to music. If it's reading a book, whatever it is that you find that is a process that works for you, starting your day, I think it's really, really important that you keep amplifying that. Move on to the next one, and like the payments like Declan spoke about, you have the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual. Once they're connected together, you start to create an optimum version of yourself, and when you're an optimum version of yourself, you're optimum for everyone else.
Very good, very good. And the last thing I'd like to say before we wrap up, from my perspective, and it's something that I live by and I love saying this, is sometimes in order to speed up, you gotta slow down. So remember that, sometimes in order to speed up, you gotta slow down. So when you take that time to slow down, that's when you can create and think of all these things you need to do, you need to react and act on. Because if you keep go, and you don't take time to slow down and reflect and look at what's really going on, you're going to be in that hamster wheel going round and round and round, and then all of a sudden, like what used to happen to me, it was burnout after burnout after burnout. So remember, sometimes in order to speed up, you've got to slow down.
That's excellent. Yeah, you gotta listen to that. It's so important. I think if anything, just ingrain that in your brain today. If you take anything from it, to avoid that burnout and to avoid it, because it will come, and it takes many, many different shapes. It mightn't be as obvious as you think, but you've got to slow down to sometimes speed up.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you again soon.